I don't know.
Throw one at Dion, maybe he'll pop in.
Yeah, well, I'll throw one in as well. All right, wrestling fans, we are alive for episode 33 of the Pop-Up Powerbomb Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, the Moon Man, the man with amongst the stars and the galaxies, of course. I have the cerebral one beside me, Cerebral Paul. This is a podcast for wrestling fans by wrestling fan. We talk all things wrestling, cover many promotions and cover everything. Of course, we had two pay-per-views this weekend from WWE. Of course, we had Money in the Bank pay-per-view and some big surprises and a lot of fallout, a lot of angry fallout from a certain somebody who's just been fined twice. And of course, we had the NXT pay-per-view, amongst other things. But let's get into some of the topics before we talk about the pay-per-views. We've got a little bit of news that came in late. So first off is there's been another release from WWE. NXT's Damon Kemp has been released. Words come in. He's also known, obviously real name is Bobby Stevenson. He's announced his departure after a 4-year tenure. So he's the brother of the recently released Gable Stevenson, the Olympian. Bobby made a significant impression on WWE officials, coaches, and fans. He performed across multiple platforms, including NXT, Level Up, 205 Live, and WWE Main Event. According to Fightful Select, Kemp's departure is not part of a round of cuts. Instead, Kemp was informed that his WWE contract would not be renewed, a decision that has become more common for the company in recent months. 25-year-old wrestled his most recent match on NXT on June 25th, where he faced Tavion Heights. He made his WWE debut in late 2021 and has since been recognised for his talent and potential. Despite his exit, Kemp leaves behind a legacy of memorable performances and a bright future ahead, and fans are eager to see where his career will take him next. This one was actually interesting because he was a part of that team with William Regal's son. And what do they call themselves? The Catch Crew or whatever they call themselves.
Yeah, vaguely remember them, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've been pretty prominent. Usually battling like I think recently they've been battling like Axiom and Nathan Fraser and a few others. But yeah, I mean he's young. He has a very good collegiate background. He was initially teamed with the Creed brothers initially before he had that feud with Julius, I believe, when he turned on him. And so yeah, I mean, I thought, especially as a tag team guy or a middle guy, for if they moved him up like Intercontinental US title sort of chaser, I thought he was thereabouts. But obviously they're trimming the fat some more, as I like to put it, and I dare say we'll probably see him in the next few weeks turn up in either TNA or AEW. Again, it's a good time, like the 90s, to have options, and he's young still. He's only 25, so he's still got a hell of a career ahead of him. I thought the one thing that it's funny, we were talking about someone just before the show, but he's another one that needs work on his mic skills. Brilliant in-ring performer, no doubt about it. But yeah, he hasn't
Let
really
me
got
just
the
throw
mic
this
skill.
out there, WWE. If you're watching, if you want, give me a job at the Performance Center. I'll work with these guys. I can teach them how to punch their stuff up, and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and not seem comatose when they're doing their thing, and not seem like they're reading a script. You know.
exactly, exactly. And I think that's how he might have got lost a little bit. Is like William Regal's son can talk on a microphone, and I think that's due to his daddy. Um, his dad would have coached him very, very well, and so he's got it all. William Regal's son. I dare say that group now is going to be disbanded because there's only him and the other young guy. I forget his name. The young guy with the lisp. So I don't think they're going to be a whole team anymore. So William Regal's son's probably better off on his own anyway. But it is what it is. And I wish Damon well in his future endeavours. As I said, there is other places he can go, and I'm sure he will turn up there somewhere. Another little bit of news came in late.
Actually, let me speak to that real quick. I was going to say,
Yeah.
this could actually be, it's not a round of cuts. They're just kind of trimming the fat.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is something I've talked. This is something I've talked about, that they're on all three of their labels. They're a little bit of talent heavy. It's hard to get everybody involved when you have so many people. So
Right.
this could be a good thing for other people. I'm sorry he had to lose his place and his brother had to lose his place. But
Yeah.
like you said, they have options. But this could be better for the brand as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
now they can kind of work with the other, fewer personalities and stuff to do their thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I think this isn't necessarily a negative. It is for the ones who had to move on, but not necessarily for the ones who
Yeah.
get
And
to
I mean,
stay behind.
his brother is, I'm pretty sure, going back to the Olympics, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty
Right.
sure. Hey, what's good, Rourke? What's good, brother? But hey, before what I'm noticing, if you can see on the screen before we go to the next topic, WWE 2K24, right? So I recorded some footage, but if people are wondering why this looks better than the actual game, how the game still looks like the wrestlers look cartoonish, I got a mod, right? I added a mod to this. Came from Nexus Mods. It's called the Reshade mod. What they've done is change the lighting and some textures, and it really makes the you can notice the difference.
Yeah, but you're on PC. I know you are. So
Yeah. No, well, I checked it out. And like, I was looking at it, like I turned it, because you can turn it on and off, right, while you're in the game.
Right.
And so then you turn it off, and then you turn it back on, and it is actually a noticeable difference, considering not a lot really got put in. Like, they had to change some camera angles. They changed up, the shading and other textures and that. But yeah, it looks really, really freaking good. Like, as soon as I put it on, because the guy was showing pictures of The Rock, and Roman, so I had to do a Rock Roman match, and I was like, good God. I said, that's a lot better. Maybe 2K should hire this guy, just for the lighting and everything. He sat there and he recorded and watched a lot of the television, right, and how it's presented on TV, and how the lighting is and the camera angle, and that's he's sort of done his homework, and that's how he came about for the mod. So shout out to him for that, because it looks fantastic. Right, so next topic. Now this one's an interesting one, and I thought, Paul's going to probably have a bit to say on this. This is quite interesting. So AEW has been criticised for one-sided partnership with TNA Wrestling. Now, this could make a whole lot of sense as to why TNA has been teaming up with WWE, because at least it's not one-sided, clear as day,
Right.
because some WWE talents have already shown up on TNA and vice versa. So AEW's worked with several promotions over the past few years. That includes TNA and New Japan and Mexico's promotions. However, it appears AEW has been criticised for their partnership with TNA in the past. Now, the partnership between TNA and AEW, which spanned from 2020 to early 2021 and then stopped, marked a noteworthy period of talent exchange and collaboration between the two. During this time, wrestlers such as Kenny Omega, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Christian Cage, among others, made appearances across both Impact and AEW shows. One of the most significant moments of this partnership was Kenny holding both the Impact and AEW World Heavyweight Championships simultaneously, showing the collaboration's substantial influence on wrestling storylines and championship dynamics. However, while speaking during an appearance on the Rewind, Relive, Recap podcast, alongside current TNA head referee Daniel Spencer, former TNA referee Brian Hebner criticised AEW for not being fair with TNA during their partnership. Hebner mentioned that a partnership with a company like WWE is beneficial for a smaller promotion like TNA. However, Hebner criticised AEW's handling of their partnership, stating that it was unbalanced and favoured AEW's talent without providing equivalent benefits to TNA. Hebner expressed his disappointment, noting that the matches during the partnership seemed to prioritise AEW's talent getting over. He contrasted this with WWE suggesting that WWE would give TNA's talent, such as Jordan Grace, a fair chance to look good while competing for their titles. Hebner gave emphasis to the fact that this level of fairness and respect is all TNA is asking for in a partnership. He said, and I quote, "That old partnership you're talking about, I'll say it, with AEW was really not that good. It was a give and take. It was all give and we take nothing. That's what it really did amount to." I don't know if it was, I don't know all that aspect. I just know that I was a little bit back in the back scenes because I was traveling and doing all the stuff that we were doing mixed with AEW. I just felt like matches were unfair. It was just all about their talent getting over. Where I feel like WWE is not in it like that. I don't feel like Jordan Grace is going to win their title while she has TNA's, but I do feel like they're going to give her a fair shake and make her look really, really good. That's all I'm sure TNA and their talents are asking for. Even Tony Khan was called out for putting down TNA during AEW's partnership with the promotion, bad-mouthing them constantly. Nevertheless, TNA Wrestling is currently invested in their partnership with WWE, which seems to be blossoming, and that's all that matters to the promotion right now. So, with that said, how do you feel about that, brother?
I think this is going to work out better for TNA, especially with the WWE ditching the PG form and going, we're just going to say what we want to say and do what we want to do. This could be TNA's dream. You mean we're going to have shit show up on Netflix and we can do and say what we want? Holy crap! And people are going to watch our stuff. Yeah. So, and I know they're not going to be there all the time, but still, this will open the door for them to do more to a wider audience again, because as we both talked about, they've kind of all but disappeared for a while. Heck, when I started doing the show with you, I was like, they're still a thing, because I mean, you never saw any advertisements for him. You never saw any talk of TNA.
Right.
So this is good for them. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with Tony. I have no idea how that works. I mean, New Japan, they probably really don't care because they're big in Japan. That's all they really care about. Yes, they come over here like once or twice a year and they do something with A&E, but they don't need it. You know, they I don't think they'd notice much of a difference without it. The only thing it does do is it lets us as the North American viewer, or whoever, see some of the Japan talent that we wouldn't normally see. You know, so but yeah, this is I I honestly don't know what Tony's thinking half the time when he does stuff. Neither one of us do. You know, except he has this what's good for me, and then he does that businessman thing of, well, I'm getting mine, and oh yeah, I forgot you guys were over there. You know, I just he's just ah he needs to get his crap together. Seriously. Um. So I mean, it is what it is, and I want A&E to survive, and I want it to survive not because of Tony Khan, but in spite of Tony Khan. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And the more they have to flush money into it to keep it alive, the worse it's going to get. They need to be able to stand on their own without Tony Khan's daddy, paying the bills. They
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and like we both said, it's going to come down to Tony can be the man behind the curtain, but he needs to stop trying to be the man like setting up the matches and driving the storylines, and bring in some real writers who can do that. Heck, there's a lot of freelancers out there who've got the history with WWE and such who can do that. Bring them on. Like we know he has access to the money. But if you bring on good talent, you pay them what they deserve, you treat them right, all of a sudden they're going to start paying for themselves and what they bring to the game.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And yeah, Yobi, you're not wrong. The WWE TNA relationship is working out beautifully. And that'd be cool if it leads to a joint pay per view together. That would be really good. But like you said above as well, as much as you love Kenny having both titles, that relationship didn't benefit anyone other than AEW. It was trash. It was
right.
very unfair. So I agree with Brian Hebner's comments here. It did nothing for TNA. It did everything for AEW and their talent. Whereas this, and like he said, he's not expecting WWE to have Jordan Grace win their title while she's the TNA Women's Champ. Joe Henry's now prominently being used on NXT. Who knows? Maybe they have him win a title because he has got one of the TNA titles. Maybe he comes in and beats the newly crowned NXT champion. Who knows? But so far with those two talents, they've been treated very fairly. Jordan Grace, if we remember, had a very good showing at the Royal Rumble. Didn't have to win it,
Yep.
but they made her look
And
good.
didn't I see rumblings that WWE is looking at their pay-per-view calendar and they're going to be revamping some stuff anyway?
Yeah, yeah. So
So
I would love
so
to see a
yeah.
cross promotion TNA versus WWE pay per view. That would be freaking epic. And I think WWE would be fair where some of the TNA talents would go over the WWE talents on that pay per view.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think if they do
and vice
that, if
versa.
they that the first one they do, the first time they do that, it should be over in Japan. Let them shine over there.
Yeah,
Show them that it's not all about WWE. Let them shine in Japan. Go over there.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. So I'm loving this. I'm loving this, and I think, uh, see, even AEW with New Japan, right? I think New Japan's going to get sick of that working relationship too because it
yeah,
hasn't been beneficial. Like I'll give AEW something. They have treated New Japan's talents a bit better.
yeah,
By no stretch of the imagination is it a lot better, but
yeah.
no, I think New Japan will eventually get sick of it and go. You know
Maybe,
what?
but they're getting something out of it too. They're getting the foothold into North
I know,
America.
but could you imagine how much more beneficial that would be in helping with
Oh
that
yeah.
if they team with WWE and you know,
Now that would be interesting though if all of a sudden you had WWE basically teaming with everybody like they
yeah,
did back in the early 80s before they became a conglomerate. They were teaming with all these other promotions. You
yeah,
know,
exactly, Yobi. That's that's all AEW's done with this is pretty much poached all of New Japan's top talent. You
and
got
then screwed up their careers by not having a decent story.
yeah. I
But
mean, they took Osprey, they took Jay White, they've taken Okada, um, and quite a few others like. I'd love to see New Japan working with WWE. That would be really interesting. They've got Shinsuke there to bridge the gap there and get them together talking and that. But look, it's going to come a time and a place. I think like TNA did and go. You know what? This isn't as beneficial as what we thought it was going to be. Granted, they do that cross pay per view Forbidden Door with them, but yeah, it's still not good, But we'll see. We'll see how that pans out too. But maybe they're looking at across and going, you know what, this WWE TNA collaboration's working well for both sides. Maybe we should look into collaborating ourselves with WWE. Um, it's a better managed and better run promotion. It just is. It just night and day. It's not even any comparison. But moving right along, we have some news on why Rikishi he can't replace Paul Heyman as a Bloodline's wise man. He reveals it himself. So the Bloodline, as we know, underwent significant changes recently, largely due to Solo's influence. So he's introduced Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu into the group's fold. This transformation came at the cost of ousting Paul Heyman. In light of these changes, Rikishi has revealed why he wouldn't want to replace Heyman despite his interest in joining the Bloodline. So Heyman is expected to return alongside Roman Reigns, who is set to reassemble his own bloodline faction upon his return, a babyface version. This has sparked speculation about Solo's father, Rikishi, potentially filling the role as the 2024 Hall of Famer's replacement. In fact, Rikishi had previously revealed his interest in replacing Paul as well. While speaking on his podcast, Rikishi Fatu Off the Top, Rikishi stated that Solo's bloodline might need a new wise man, and he expressed interest in the role. However, he clarified that he has reservations about returning to WWE due to the extensive travel commitments required for a regular on-screen role. Rikishi put on emphasis on the fact that his current focus is on family, enjoying time with his children and grandchildren, which he values greatly in this stage of his life. He said, and I quote, "People ask, would I be interested in returning as the new wise man? Yeah, I guess it makes sense, doesn't it? Is the scheduling going to be a problem? Because I don't want to hit the road, and that would probably be the only reason why I would probably decline. There's so much to my life now than pro wrestling. My time is my time now. The second part of my life is to spend time to visit my kids, my grandkids, and it's nice when I show up to the boys' homes." So we'll have to wait and see. You know, we'll ask.
He needs to get the same contract that Roman had. Show up once every 3 months, do a couple of shows,
yeah.
do a lot of stuff on the phone.
It's like he
you
can read it.
You can just see Solo now going, call Rikishi. You know, it's there. It's all right there.
But yeah, he wants to do it, but it's been on the road that you know will kill him, and not kill him literally, but like, you know, upset where he is in life right now.
Right.
So it's like,
and as proper as all that sounds, what it probably really is Mrs. Rikishi's in there going, "You ain't doing it. No."
No. You know what I think? I don't think he needs to come in as well. If you want to do him sparingly, I think just bring him in sparingly.
Yeah.
As Papa, you know, as Solo's dad.
Yeah.
You know, and he could come in and help out every now and then. So like, you know, you might keep him on the road for like just a couple of weeks, and then he goes away for a bit, and then, you know, comes back. Because if they do bring him in as that new wise man, like he said, he would have to be there regularly, you know.
Right.
And so I think
I think they should use him, especially when
he's got to, because
when Roman comes back, he really should pop in.
Yeah, I mean, for the last 12, 18 months. Yeah. He's been hinting all over fucking Twitter, and he said some things, and then him and Roman had an exchange, and I'm like, they should have had their exchange around when Roman and Jay were going at it for the tribal chief, right? And I'm sitting there going, is this man going to get involved or what? Or we just having this Twitter back and forth, like, and he keeps doing little hints, like the last little tweet that he hinted out, he just simply put a blood drop emoji. I'm like, come on now. You got to creep in here somewhere.
Well, what I'm saying is when Roman comes back, and because we both assume when Roman comes back, it's going to be to fight Solo in the new bloodline.
Yeah, it will be.
That's a great time to, at least for, even if it's for one night, to have one big show with Rikishi showing up and yes, taking sides. And then telling them to beat the crap out of each other for
exactly, because they're meant to do that, and it's all meant to culminate and lead to Rock and Roman, because Rock is apparently going to be revealed as behind the new bloodline. No, he's not. Obviously, he doesn't have to be. He's not the new tribal chief, but we know the Rock has his own name, so he doesn't need that tribal chief. He's the final boss. Which, in reality, when you say final boss, that really puts him ahead of the tribal chief, because he's the final boss.
And it's funny to watch him tweet. You know, he's like the most popular whatever in wrestling history, and like and even other wrestlers are going, it's a little early to be saying that. You know,
I agree. I think I think it's going to be one of his best personas. No doubt about it. It's definitely his most aggressive.
We saw him for 3 weeks, and now he hasn't shown up again.
No, he's away now. You know, so I think it can be
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still early days, and he's even already said that he's going to be sticking around like with this persona for a while. So might be a few more years of it yet. So let it
Well,
play out. I
and
think.
I figure that him and Cena are probably going to have at least one or two matches over the next year.
Well, yeah, talking
Well,
about
because
that.
yeah, because Cena said he wants to do 40 matches this year.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So we'll be talking about Cena
yeah,
here in a second, but another little update. So there's update on WWE introducing United States and Intercontinental titles for the women's division. So finally, some middle run titles for them to chase after. So the WWE Women's Division, as we've seen for quite a while now, has a lot of growth, especially over the past several years, and it is currently viewed as one of the best in the whole industry. I won't argue with that. This is
no, me
especially,
neither. They've grown a lot. I mean,
yeah, both the
know,
women. Put it this way: the main roster women's division and the NXT women's division. Oof,
well,
and
to
I've
me, I
followed a
think
lot of other promotions.
this is the first time there's been that many in either women's division, right?
Yeah,
There've never been this many women vying for
no,
different
no,
positions.
no, exactly. And yeah, you're right. Yobi, Roman is filming a film right now. So he'll be back. I think the rumor has it is he's going to turn up at the end of SummerSlam, and cost Solo. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, so the best in the whole industry. This is especially the case when it comes to NXT, and most recently, reports suggested that WWE is considering a US and Intercontinental Championship for the women's division, and now we have an update in that regard. And if you know, which this wouldn't surprise me that discussions have happened before I continue, because they did introduce the North American Championship for the women's division in NXT. So they now have two titles that they can chase for down there, other than the tag titles. The rumours have been swirling about WWE potentially adding a Women's United States and Intercontinental title to their roster. According to Sean Ross Sapp, while nothing has been officially confirmed, there have been extensive internal discussions within the company about introducing these new championships. Contrary to circulating images in the last week on social media, which turned out to be completely AI generated art and not official designs, WWE talent has been aware of the talks regarding these proposed titles. Many within the company have been supportive of the idea, viewing it as a positive step forward in recognising and showcasing the talent of their female roster members. While speaking on the latest edition of Wrestling Observer Radio, Brian Alvarez discussed the potential introduction of new titles in WWE. Meltzer himself acknowledged that reports had surfaced earlier in the day that WWE planning to create women's US and Intercontinental titles. He confirmed that these discussions were actually happening extensively within WWE. He said, and I quote, "Someone's going to criticise me because I don't know who first reported it. I know it was reported earlier in the day because somebody texted me and just goes, it's being reported out there that they are going to create a US and Intercontinental Women's Championships. I asked and I was basically told that it is in fact what is being discussed. So there you go, two more championships, one on each brand." So, as I mentioned earlier, NXT already introduced the NXT Women's North American Championship, and it's already been a huge success. So we'll have to wait and see whether Raw and SmackDown will ultimately get their own mid-card titles for the women's division, as fans feel the roster might not be stacked enough for the titles to be implemented well just yet, until they bring some more females up to the NXT. Well, to those fans, I don't know what they're seeing, because they've got quite a bloated female roster
Yeah,
from
they
both,
really do.
yeah, from both NXT
To where
and
they
main
have,
roster.
I mean, where they have stables of like three, four, or five women, and it's like you've got enough talent out there, more than enough. You know,
Yeah,
break
exactly.
up some of them staples.
And yeah, yeah,
And
Yobi. Yes, Yobi's correct. He said the tag women's titles aren't doing enough. I agree.
yep,
So,
I'm waiting for the for them to ride the high and do the hawk to a women's title.
oh god. But no, look, I think this is needed. Because you only have the two main women's championships, and
Yep.
so I think introducing two more for the mid card, it's beneficial. We see how beneficial it
Yeah.
is for the men, and their women's roster is just getting just as stacked as the
Yeah,
male roster. So,
yeah.
um, I
Well,
think,
you know what I think part of it is too is now that Vince is gone,
yeah, gone.
it's allowing to Paul to give the women the respect they deserve as wrestlers. That
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are that they are also an important part of the industry. They're an important part of WWE, and they're finally getting some of the respect and acknowledgement that they've deserved for decades.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly. You're not wrong. It's about time because, I mean, we all remember the bloody Attitude Era and how they were treated back then.
yeah.
You know,
They because they're not just proteges. They're not just escorts. You
no,
know, they're
no.
not just Miss Elizabeth, which was cool. I love Miss Elizabeth. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I
but
mean, she was a good manager. You know,
and she was a good manager, and she kind of set the tone for what a female manager was. She
right?
really did. You know, but then we started to grow out of that, and you know, so now let's give them their due. Let's highlight them as much as we highlight these guys, because they're just as some of them are just as good as, or if not better than some of these guys. You know,
Yeah, exactly,
Well,
exactly. You know, and it's great that they're getting that because the talent now. I mean, some of them could wrestle circles around the men, like they're that good. You
yeah.
know, and
Oh,
they've got
I'm pretty sure that I mean Rhea already has a title, but I'm pretty sure that she could out wrestle most of the guys in the ring,
yeah.
and
Charlotte Flair could as
she can
well.
make it look well, and she can make it look good. You know,
Charlotte Flair could as
yes.
well. You know,
And
yeah.
some of the stuff we saw this weekend with some of the women was like, yay! I mean, it was good.
Oh,
I
bro,
mean,
yeah. We'll get into that Money in the Bank match bit. Oh my god. Yobi says Rhea Ripley could destroy half the men's roster
yeah.
in her sleep, bro. In her sleep. I can't wait. I can't wait for her to come back and break Dominic in half. Because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Of course, we got some Seth Rollins news. So he's admitted after Money in the Bank that his in-ring career is slowly winding down. Which this doesn't surprise me because he's got as bad of back issues as what Shawn Michaels was having.
Right.
Um, he's he made a huge market Money in the Bank too. However, it appears he's admitted that his in-ring career is winding down. He's achieved enough in WWE realistically to secure a future place in the Hall of Fame, but he claims he's just entering his prime. He also acknowledges having more days behind him in the ring than ahead. While speaking during an interview with Michael Cole that aired during the Countdown show, actually before Money in the Bank, Seth talked about his WWE career. Cole suggested that Rollins might be on the last major run of his career, which Rollins responded by stating that he feels like he's just starting his prime. However, he also admitted that more of his career is in the past and rearview mirror than in the future. And I quote, Seth says, I mean, I feel like I'm just kind of hitting my prime. You know, let's make that clear. I feel like I'm just starting it. But yeah, I do think more of my career is in the past than in the future. That's not no doubt. I've given it a lot of thought about my legacy and what I want it to be, and I'm back to win the World Heavyweight Championship. I want to add it to my legacy. I want to continue to build on everything that I've done. Um, but he has admitted that injuries are catching up to him, and so look, I could probably see him at least wrestling probably another 5 years. Um, it all depends on that back of his. It's
Yeah,
his
he's
lower
not
back
going
too.
anywhere for the next short time. No,
No, no.
because I'm even tonight. I tell you, they're starting to set up some stuff with him again. So yeah,
Yes,
he's going to
yeah.
be around a bit.
So yeah, I predict he'll at least be around for 5 years. It could be a bit more, but he's gonna retire. I know he's stated in the past he's going to retire before his body's broken.
Right.
He's got a little one now with Becky Lynch, so he's going to want to run around with his kid. And yeah, you know, so he's smart in that sense. He's made a lot of money. He's achieved everything that you could possibly achieve when you really think about it. Came in, made a huge impact with the Shield, won every title imaginable. been a Money in the Bank winner. He's essentially done it all. There's not a heck of a lot more to prove. Um, and so it'll be interesting once he calls it a day.
Yeah.
But I just
He
hope.
is right in the sense, though, and I do agree that his popularity right now is through the roof.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
oh yeah.
he you know he right now he is on a high
But you
of
know who got the
very.
biggest? You know who got the biggest freaking pop at Money in the Bank? There's a
Who's that?
video. There's a video. I think I shared it on my Twitter. Randy Orton. That crowd. They showed the
Yeah.
decibel.
Hmm.
That crowd singing his song. My
Yeah.
God, they were freaking. They were loud. I thought they were going to be loud for Cody when they were singing Cody or even
Yeah.
Seth. No, Randy Orton, man, he won out at Money in the Bank. He had the biggest
Yeah.
crowd reaction. Um, and I've never really heard the crowd sing his song too much compared to others, but they got right into it up there in Canada.
Yeah.
Of course, the big surprise at Money in the Bank. We knew it was eventually coming. It was a little bit of a shock to me. I didn't think it was going to come this soon. But John Cena announced his retirement, and 2025 will indeed be his last as an in-ring competitor. He went on to explain his reasons why he's decided to hang it up. He's been a cornerstone of WWE for over 2 decades. And during the post-show press conference, he fielded questions discussing the timing and future involvement.
That post show press conference is still going on. You can
Yeah,
John is still taking questions.
yeah.
Apparently, I Jesus.
But when asked about his decision to retire, Cena explained the timing wasn't entirely up to me. He goes, I approached WWE with the idea. They suggested this time frame as ideal if we were ever going to do it. The business is currently thriving with incredible popularity and awareness. Major milestones like the upcoming Netflix debut are particularly significant. Cena continued, said, I'm proud that WWE still sees me as someone they can call upon. When they said, remember that idea you had? We think the time is now. It warmed my heart. It meant a lot that my idea resonated with them. They saw value in bringing us all together, creating excitement and writing stories we could bring to life. I'm flattered to be part of something so meaningful. He also clarified that his final run won't conclude at next year's WrestleMania. Instead, he plans to perform at mid-30s to 40 events spanning from January 2025 to finishing up in December 2025, giving fans a significant farewell tour with a lot of significant matchups.
Yeah, somebody on Twitter asked me, well, why did they announce it now? And that's exactly why they did it then,
Yeah,
to let people know that here's your possibly your last chance to see John Cena in the next 12 months.
yeah,
And that was
exactly.
before they saw the 40 number, because I was going, well, he's not just going to do the pay-per-views. And they were like, are you sure? Then the next day they broke down information up to 40 matches.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
40
the 40
days.
appearances. So
So
that's a lot. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I know Punk had a bit of a chuckle with him over it because he texted him when he heard it, and he said, "Hey, you don't leave the arena until you come say hello to me." And
Oh,
John, yeah, well, they're actually pretty close. They're actually
yeah, I
really
know.
close.
Yeah.
And Punk's not wrong. He goes, you can't speak of John Cena's career without speaking of Punk's career because they were very, apart from Randy Orton, Punk was another very big rivalry for Cena.
Yep.
Really, the three biggest were Punk, Orton, and Edge. Were his three
Right.
most prominent feuds. And he said, "Oh, I told him." He goes, "Yeah, 15 years later, I'm going to be dragging. I'm going to be the mother effer to drag you out of retirement." And he probably
Yeah.
would too. He probably could get him out of retirement too.
And that's the other question going around, because now it's like, okay, who's going to be his retirement match? Who's going to retire John Cena?
Hmm.
My response was they're probably going to let John choose who his final
Oh
opponent
yeah, it
is.
will. He'll get the choice like Undertaker. No doubt
Right.
about it. Um,
And I hope it ends up better than the Undertaker final
I
match. But
think, I personally think that he's going to choose a younger talent. That's
you
just
think
my
so?
feeling. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just my feeling. If we all know how giving John Cena is, and he knows it's all about the younger talent now. I could see him. It could, putting someone younger over that needs a run. Maybe he lets Uncle Howdy
That
be,
would be good.
right? Because he's just getting started and Bo's still quite young. I Another guy I could think of, but he's not exactly a young talent, but obviously his career as a main eventer is only really getting started. Um, he may put over someone like a Damian Priest, that could also use the rub too, even though, as again, he's a guy that's almost 40 himself. But
Right.
I still think it might be a younger guy. It could be Carmelo Hayes,
That
a
would be
guy,
a good match to watch, I
yeah,
think. That
a
would be a
guy that could use a rub. It could be Bron Breakker, another guy that could use the rub. That would be
uh
believable. Breaker
well,
would
yeah,
be,
that would be believable. Yeah.
tearing him in half.
The more I watch Braun, the more I go, God, he looks like his father.
Hey,
It's a-
he does, but he has a lot of personality of his uncle
yeah,
too, of Scott Steiner.
but he does. But the way he moves and stuff, you go, it's definitely a Snyder. Holy crap.
Yeah, yeah. So he clarified on that. He's also was talking about now. I really hope this happens because if there's anybody, we know he's currently tied, but if there's anybody in the business that deserves to break Ric Flair's record, it's John Cena. So he's revealed conditions on signing this contract of his last run for the 17th world title win. Um, so, as we know, he's currently tied with Ric Flair as a 16-time world champion. Uh, and he carried the company through the whole PG era, which wouldn't have been easy, right?
Right.
Going through a PG era and trying to stay PG. And it wasn't. I think Undertaker recently come out and also praised him on that.
Yeah.
As
But
well as a
but you
couple
know,
others.
let me just say that with him having to carry through the PGA, I think that helped, because he's also like the record holder for the most wishes granted for Make a Wish.
Yes, yeah.
And I think part
He's
of
the
that
most
is because he
requested.
was there for, yeah. Part of that was because it was part of the PGA era, so kids were allowed
But
to watch that. So
many fans have wondered if he will ever get to be a 17-time
yeah.
champion and hold the record. It's now been revealed the condition for that to happen. And see, this is what I'm about. What I'm
Oh,
about to quote from him is, "If you don't understand the character of John Cena, you're about to." So the leader of C Nation, as I said, he became a 16-time world champ after defeating AJ Styles at the 2017 Royal Rumble, equaling the record with Ric Flair. But fans have wondered whether Cena will surpass Flair or remain tied. At the Money in the Bank premium live event, John confirmed, apart from ending his in-ring career, he talked about a 17th world championship. So while speaking during the post Money in the Bank press conference, he was asked about potentially breaking that record. Cena stated that opportunities must be earned, not given. So reflecting on his track record, he acknowledged the need to put in the work. He named events like the Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber as significant chances for him to eventually become a 17-time world champion. Cena reminded fans that WrestleMania will not be his final appearance and noted Money in the Bank as another promising opportunity. He recognised the competitive challenge ahead, acknowledging he needs to start from the bottom and the back of the line realistically. Despite this, he remained optimistic about the scattered opportunities that could lead to making history with a bit of luck. He said, and I quote, "I would really love that opportunity to break that record. Those opportunities, though, are earned, not given. Given my past track record, I've got some work to do and work to put in." So what I said tonight about fantastic opportunities, man, the Royal Rumble, that's a great ticket. Elimination Chamber now has some stakes to it. That is another great opportunity. Like I said, WrestleMania is not my last match. Money in the Bank is another great opportunity. So I know from a straight competitive standpoint, I have to work my way up from the bottom. I'm a realist. But there are so many opportunities scattered that if I do harness a little more luck, who knows? Maybe we really make some history. Either way, I'm excited. Guys, that is it. So
yeah.
he's got a whole year.
One more question. One more. No, I'm kidding.
No,
By
but
the way,
he.
if you guys didn't know, if you didn't watch the presser, he did that, and he purposely kept taking one more question for like
I
he went
know.
like
There
20 to
was
30
one
minutes
question
over
though. There was
his
one
designated
question
time.
that he got asked, and Triple H got asked, and they both said we're not commenting. Someone had to ask from the press
Yeah.
about Vince, and they didn't
I
want to
hate
comment.
that crap.
Yeah.
I wish they would stop doing that.
And I loved how they both answered. We're not answering that. We're moving forward. It's all about the
Yeah.
future. Vince is the past. And what's going on with Vince has got nothing to do with WWE. They've cut all ties.
Yep. And
Everybody's
Triple
cut
H
ties.
actually flat out said I can't talk legal.
No,
That he said I
but
can't
that's
talk
not
legal.
his business anyway.
Yeah,
It's
it's
got
not. Yeah.
it's Vince's and Vince's lawyers. They're not the person's not taking WWE to court. They're taking Vince and John Laurinaitis
No,
to court.
but a lot of these guys are probably still getting interviewed and stuff for the
Mm.
purposes of the case. But yeah.
It's like you're
Yeah.
at Money in the Bank. You've just had an awesome pay per view, but you want to talk about fucking Vince. It's like, come on.
They did the same thing after WrestleMania with Cody, remember?
Yeah. And Cody said,
like-
"No, I'm not talking. What are we doing?
Yeah.
You got the biggest freaking pay per view of the calendar, and you want to talk about freaking Vince and not the awesome matchups that happened. It's like, good
Yeah.
Lord, like if
Yeah,
you want
let's
to
talk
talk
about what happened
Vince,
tonight. Yeah.
yeah, then you go to the courthouse when he turns up to court, like any other reporter that news reporter is there, and you ask him the freaking question, or he's lawyered the damn questions there, if they're going to answer, that is. But
Yeah.
that's where you go and ask about Vince. Vince has got nothing to do with the company anymore, so I don't even know why he's being brought
You know
up.
what I think some of it is? A lot of these guys that are in there for these pressers that are like, from www.whatever.com,
Yeah.
they can't actually get press access in a courthouse.
No.
They can't actually get close enough to Vince to ask him.
No,
You know?
exactly. But look, I really hope that if the opportunity arises, that John gets that opportunity. Because being there for, like you said, for the next 12 months, starting in January, and having anywhere between 30 to 40, like he said, could even get up to 50, like, because he said mid 40s and that. So we could see him wrestle almost 50 times or close to it.
Right.
There's opportunity there.
I'd like to see him win
I
a
wanna-
King of the Ring or a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I want to see him obviously have one final match with Punk, one final match with The Rock, and one final match with Orton. That would be freaking 3 matches I want to see. I would like to see him because I don't know. I just get this feeling Cody is not going to hold that title to WrestleMania. I think someone else will have that title, right? Which would work out better, and then John beats whoever that person is.
And whoever that is better be a heel because
well, there is rumors going around that maybe not the first time around, but maybe a second or third time around, Solo might end up beating Cody for the belt, or beating the one to beat him, or maybe Jacob Fatu is one of those two, which would make sense. They're both heels,
right?
And if that's the case, then I'd be really happy for John to come in and whoop one of their asses and take the belt and have his run, and then he could have a little. You couldn't even say he'd have a month run. You could give him a couple of months run as the champ. Maybe have him drop it at SummerSlam or something like that, and put someone over, and go from there. So,
well, in that case, you wouldn't necessarily want to put somebody too young over who hadn't really earned their stripes to hold the world championship. But
no, well, that's why I was thinking Uncle Howdy, because there's already push to put the world championship on him because he's just the immediate impact. That would be the one young guy that I would envision to put over, really put over, and Bo needs that rub. There's no Undertaker around anymore to get that kind of a rub, but if defeating John Cena, and not just defeating John Cena, but defeating John Cena for the championship, that would be a huge thing for that character.
When are we going to finally see Bo return to the ring? Because they keep doing these lead-ins with.
I know. I'm waiting for
including tonight. They did it again with against what's his name, Gable. So we know who the first match is going to be. The first match is going to be against Gable, but when?
But
are they going to do it at SummerSlam in 4 weeks?
John. hats off to him, man. I put a post out. I've been a fan since day one of him. I know a lot of the time he was restricted, even in his ring style, because of the way they wanted to present him and the kind of, Super Cena as he was once known as and all that.
Right.
But that man put that company on his back through probably one of the hardest and toughest eras, in the sense of it would have been so hard in that what people admitted, how that PG era was run, and trying to stick to all these freaking restrictions, and an era that isn't beloved, but Cena got him through it. And I don't think anybody else could have carried that company through that particular era other than John.
Again, I think that's owed a little bit to his positive outside of wrestling PR, the whole Make-A-Wish thing and all that.
He's a fantastic human being, as we're all well aware. How you see him on TV, he's no different in person. I mean, he's done it all in the business. He's done a lot for the business. He's done a lot for Make-A-Wish. As I said,
I was trading tweets with Apex Assassin. We're talking about what'd be a fun match to watch, and just reminded because of what I saw on TV, him versus R-Truth.
Yeah.
And R-Truth going through the entire match, thinking he's wrestling Cody, and then when the match is over, going, "Where's the belt? Where's the belt?" They're like, "Dude."
That's why it was funny. Cody. Did you see? Talking about him quickly, did you see his tweet when Johnny Gargano and Ciampa won the tag titles? He goes, "Oh, DX has won! Congratulations to Shawn Michaels and Triple H." And then everybody's
DX
like,
is back, baby.
And then everybody was like, "So if meaning Ciampa, if that's Triple H, who's the other bald guy?" Which was Triple H, but no, shout out to John. He deserves his flowers. I'm really looking forward to this final run. I knew before he even got in that ring, because when they zoomed in on his shirt, I was like, oh, that's different wording.
I can't go back and rewind it, but I think R-Truth just did the can't see me thing on the guy he's wrestling.
And it's funny because he's like, oh, I grew up a Cena fan. He's my idol. I'm like, dude, you're older than John. You were wrestling before John. Like, what are you doing? Some more news. So before we get into the results of the pay-per-views, WWE's got a strategy for TNA's Joe Hendry. As anybody who's seen the NXT pay-per-view, right at the end, not appearance-wise, but right at the end, after there was the title change, before they went to black, his music and video started to play. He couldn't turn up, though, because he was over wrestling in Scotland. But they've got a major role for him in this NXT TNA crossover. So, as I just mentioned it, Heatwave concluded. Eagle-eyed fans caught a fleeting but tantalising tease of Joe Hendry's involvement. The subtle hint follows Hendry's impactful NXT debut, where he boldly declared his ability to appear on any show. According to Fightful Select's Corey Brennan, sources within NXT have confirmed that Hendry is set to play a significant role in the upcoming NXT and TNA crossover, slated to unfold over the next several weeks and months. WWE is keen to harness Hendry's viral appeal, because he is definitely viral. The man is over as over can get. Believing that even brief teasers are enough to keep the Scottish wrestler at the forefront of fans' minds. It was also reported that of these blink and you miss it moments are planned, building anticipation for Hendry's next major appearance in NXT. When queried about WWE's interest in Joe Hendry after his current TNA contract ends, sources responded emphatically, who wouldn't want to sign this guy? Despite being teased at the premium live event, Hendry was not present in Toronto. Instead, he was competing in Glasgow on Saturday night. The strategic approach underscores WWE's intention to make Hendry a very pivotal figure in the evolving NXT and TNA storyline, ensuring fans are eagerly anticipating his every move. With these exciting developments, WWE is set to keep fans on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting Joe Hendry's next appearance and the unfolding of the NXT and TNA crossover storyline. The Scottish wrestler's rising star power and viral appeal promise to bring fresh energy and intrigue to the NXT brand. I just love it. Say his name and he'll appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. I love it,
Jeez.
man. I love it. It's so freaking catchy, man. And then he he does up. If you go on YouTube and look up his old indie work, oh my god, the he gets out there and does all these songs with actual um catchy tunes from pop culture of yesteryear on the wrestlers. Like he did one using that I'm blue, abadi, abada, and he did it, but with his own words against it. I'm like, that is, he's very, very creative, man, when it comes to that stuff. Like he will come out and do something. He does it in TNA, but obviously they don't have the rights to, license, so he's got to do it with his own made-up music. But even then, he's so freaking creative with it. But he's very over. And look, as I said, he's one TNA talent that I could see them putting one of NXT's belts on him. It wouldn't surprise me. And obviously, clearly, they've got very strong interest in him once his contract with TNA is up to actually sign him to a contract themselves. So it's great to see him play a major role. I think you're going to see other top talents play a major role. I know Frankie Kazarian was there the other week in a battle royal. So he showed up. I know Jordan Grace has showed up. I think you're going to see Josh Alexander, which is essentially, as I like to call him, the new Kurt Angle. TNA's Kurt Angle. He's probably going to be brought in at some point because he's a phenomenal talent. So this is just going to continue the working relationship. And if you put over, as I said, like there's some history there between him and Ethan Page, right? If you have him come in and beat Ethan Page for that NXT championship, and give Joe Henry the rub and give TNA that rub, that's going to really benefit TNA and get eyes on like, oh, a TNA talent's come in and won a WWE belt, like, well, and see, I could see him doing it with belts down there because it's not their main roster. I don't know how they'd feel about an outside talent winning like a main roster title, but NXT being developmental essentially with the younger talents on the uprise, you can get away with it, I think. And so I think it'll be really, really cool. Depending on how long this partnership's going to play out, obviously they have several months ahead of the partnership. So, man, I can't wait for him to turn up and see what he does next. Because when he came out, he didn't last 2 seconds in that battle royal a week or two ago. But when he came out and his music hit, that whole crowd went crazy. I can understand why WWE is making him a very integral part. Of course, we had a boo-boo at Money in the Bank. Again, before we get into the
did
results.
we? And it got a lot of heat.
Right, so Damian Priest didn't kick out. I think, personally, after rewatching the footage several times, I think he was actually knocked a bit stupid. Not completely out. I think he was knocked a bit like a knock silly. And Triple H has come out and defended Damian Priest after an unfortunate botch at Money in the Bank. So, in light of the botch, Triple H came to his defense. So Seth and Damian engaged in a gripping world title match at Money in the Bank, keeping Toronto fans on the edge of their seats with numerous near falls. One particular moment that stood out was a close 2 count by the referee on Damian Priest. There's a little bit more to this other than I thought he was knocked a bit silly. The keen-eyed viewers observed that Priest did not actually kick out as Rollins pinned him during the match. The referee paused briefly after reaching to, giving the impression that Priest had kicked out. Drew would then cash in his Money in the Bank and insert himself into the match. So I don't think it was solely that he was knocked a bit silly. Drew's music was so mistimed as well because his music was meant to play the minute that ref hit for the second count. It's been reported.
Right.
And it didn't. So that was another thing that played into it. So Rollins, he maintained his focus and carried on with the match, showing his trademark disbelief when an opponent survives a signature move. Ultimately, as we know, Priest retained. But while speaking during the post-show press conference, Triple H addressed the botch. He stated that mistakes happen in the ring. He expressed that if he were involved in such a situation as a talent, it would dominate his thoughts, regardless of how good the rest of the performance was. He said it was a shame that this moment would overshadow Priest's excellent performance that night. He wasn't happy that people would focus on criticising that one little mistake rather than acknowledging the overall success and the effort Priest has put into his role as world champion. He wished he could isolate Priest from the negativity and help him focus on the positives of his performance and the successful streak he's been on. He praised Priest's journey and accomplishments, noting that Priest has earned his place as a top-tier performer. He commended Priest's transformation and dedication, recognising his late career success, which many thought was unattainable. As I mentioned earlier, he is nearing 40 himself. Triple H expressed immense pride in Priest's achievements, pointing out his incredible shape and performance level. And I quote, this is what Triple H had to say: human beings in a ring. Mistakes happen, things happen, shit happens. It is what it is. Funny for me now looking at that, if that was something I was involved in as a talent, I don't care how good the rest of it was, that would be all I would be thinking about. And to me, it's a shame that that's all people are going to talk about coming out of this. That's all people will hit with Damian Priest while he had a phenomenal performance. But a bunch of people will just attack that, criticise that, comment on that, and forget the actual performance. I don't know why that's just the negative so outweighs the positive sometimes. And to me, I wish I could just go in the back, shut off his phone, have no one talk to him for a while, and just have him think about all the other great stuff that happened in that match and the role that he's been on as well. And so what he's done to get there and deserve it, because he deserves all the credit in the world for all those things. He's really stepped up to the plate, where when you see him as a performer now, I feel like I'm watching an actual champion come out. I feel like I'm watching a very top tier guy. That's on him. That's how he has handled himself and made himself own that position. He's done an incredible job of it. I'm incredibly proud of him as a performer, especially late in his career, right? To get to this level, something that no one thought he would ever be able to do. He's got himself in incredible shape and done an unbelievable job. Triple H added, I hate for it to be like, oh yeah, you're that guy that didn't kick out that one time. That's the shame part to me, because his performance tonight was absolutely off the charts, as was Seth's, as was Drew's, as was Punk's, as was everybody else in the show tonight. It's just the way the world works, unfortunately. And then there was internal reaction to the referee's role in the whole botched kick-out chew. And it's more's come to light with the referee. So, as we're well aware, the match had very high stakes as well. If Priest won, Rollins would be barred from challenging for the title as long as Priest held it. If Rollins won, Priest would be forced to leave the Judgment Day. Climax saw Rollins hit the Falcon Arrow, but the referee halted the count at 2, even though Priest didn't even kick out. So during all the confusion, Drew came out with a briefcase, turning the match into a triple threat. McIntyre hit Priest with the Future Shock DDT, only for Priest to respond with a clothesline. And as the chaos ensued, Punk made surprise entrance, attacking McIntyre with a chair, a cable choke, and a title shot to the face, seizing the moment Priest pinned and won. So the incident led to speculation about whether the referee made a mistake himself, if Priest forgot to kick out, if he was knocked silly, or if McIntyre's interruption caused a timing issue. Reports suggested that Priest may have been knocked a bit silly and simply did not kick out. Other reports are stating that it was a bit of that and a bit of the timing on Drew's music. WrestleVotes also took to Twitter and reported that referee Rod Zabata did not get any heat following the botched kick out. It was noted that in the past the referee would have definitely gotten heat. He said, I'm told there is no real heat on the referee following the mishap on Saturday night. Source said, in years past, absolutely, most of the heat would have been on the referee. So interesting to see him didn't get the heat. But look, realistically, he wasn't at fault in anything. He had to do that because obviously the match wasn't planned for Seth to actually pin him.
Right.
So he had to do something. It just didn't look good. But I certainly am one of the fans that isn't nitpicky like that. And yeah, it was a botch. And yeah, it's obviously clearly being talked about. But the match really should overshadow it, because the match was absolutely off the charts. Like, Priest and Seth Rollins did a fantastic job. And it was one little thing. And that's not the first time that there's been a botch like that, with there's somebody hasn't kicked out and that. But as I said, I
Oh
think
no, and you know as well as I do, if you ever go to a live match where you can really see what they're doing, you will see a lot of little things that you don't see on TV.
no,
Yeah.
exactly. And as I said, I think a few things played into that. I do actually think,
I think the biggest thing is he was a little knocked a little stupid.
yeah,
That
yeah,
either he didn't respond to the second clap on the mat or whatever for whatever reason he wasn't cognizant enough to jerk his shoulder up.
right.
And the ref had no way of knowing he wasn't going to jerk his shoulder up.
No,
You know,
no. And as apart from that, as I said, the timing of Drew's music was meant to hit after that second count.
but even then, even without that, I mean, the wrestler you can tell when the guy's hitting the mat. He's
Yes.
right there,
Yeah,
going one,
exactly.
two.
I
Yeah,
think he
so,
was. Yeah, that's why I said I think he was not
you know,
to be silly.
and I think because he's been doing it long enough even if he knew the cue of the music was supposed to break the count, he wouldn't be he would be smart enough to know that whether the music is there or not, I know that on two I break the count.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
and the ref, like I said, had no time to respond to realize that, oh God, this guy's not moving because it's just that quick.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Something's not right here, but you
Yeah.
could kind of tell he was a little bit limp. Like you could
Yeah.
sort of see that, and as I said, he wasn't not completely out. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to finish the match. But
I
was
mean, the
definitely
ref
not
missed
stupid.
it. And if Seth would have caught it, he would have broke the pin too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Seth didn't catch it either.
No,
So,
no, exactly. And I think it's happened when he's done the move, and I think Damien's
Right.
head just copped a good bump. But well, after the match too, and then the press conference, well, Mr. McIntyre went absolutely berserk. He completely destroyed the post-match setup and everything. He ripped into incompetent GM Adam Pearce, especially over his indefinite suspension. More came out today as Adam Pearce took to Twitter and fined him a second time for Drew's Twitter posts and stuff like that.
oh, did you see it went even further than that? Pat McAfee tried to step in, and then he said, "Do you want to fine for being an ass on Twitter or whatever he said?"
Anyway, so Pierce suspended McIntyre. He's also, I think they said he fined Punk as well.
Yeah,
but didn't suspend
they fined. Well, yeah, Punk said tonight he got fined 25 grand,
Yeah,
and then Drew got fined twice that.
50.
Yeah.
Oh man, he destroyed, and then I don't know if he elbow or he smacked Adam Pearce right in the freaking
Yeah, he
chops.
did. Did you see? Yeah, he popped him. Yeah,
he
I don't know.
popped him.
It was probably not on purpose, but yeah, he popped him pretty good.
He was going, oh, Punk, I know where you live. I know where you live. I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
Oh man, he was going off. Great.
Now, do you want my take on this, or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's all because we talked about before this that McIntyre wanted to take some time off to be with his family.
Mm.
So this indefinite suspension could be just that.
Yeah, well, I thought that was going to be a couple of weeks back when he reckoned he'd quit.
Yeah,
I thought he was going for a while, but
and it was like
obviously
5
not.
minutes. But
Yeah.
but this way
yeah.
he's indefinitely suspended, and supposedly it's going back to Glasgow.
Yes.
So this could be his time off, and then he'll come back in a few months. His suspension will be over, and he will. And because him and Punk are going to go at it, they've got to. They've set this up.
And they also stoked the fires again of Punk and Seth too at the paper because Seth was really
they put some heat on that tonight too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. But look, great acting on Drew's behalf. Like they're bringing real life heat there into a storyline, which I love when it happens because you get a lot of realism and a lot of fire between the wrestlers. But man, he went wild. He was like a wild man.
Yeah.
Wade Barrett even intervened.
But he does that well. Yeah, he does that well.
He does. And so no, that was really interesting to see at the press conference.
Because that was the third time that Punk had screwed him out of the title.
When he went to Twitter, he said, "If you were doing your job properly, you wouldn't have been caught in the crossfire, you incompetent bald bitch."
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's why I love this new era that The Rock kind of kicked off, where they can see that was
Yeah.
like they can swear a little bit, and I think
Mm.
with me and you both said if it's not overused, um, it'll work. And that certainly wasn't overused by any stretch of the imagination. But I thought that was pretty funny, calling him a bald bitch.
Yeah.
And Adam Pearce
The,
followed
the the
straight back.
the the funny thing for me is, do they, and because I figure it's all part of the thing. They all know it's fake, but all it takes is for one of them to cross a line, and the other one's going to get a little bit offended, which
Yeah,
is a whole nother thing.
yeah,
But yeah, I do like it when they kind of drag it out into the public like that, because
yeah, yeah.
at that fun, they're sitting there with their phones or whatever, and they're having fun.
Yeah,
They're
oh
just
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Drew would have been having the time of his life with that, but yeah. Look, they clearly,
And if they don't know what to expect, you know that Adam Pearce is like, did he just call me a bald bitch? Seriously?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, Adam Pearce is playing his role real smartly too in this situation too. I gotta admit, I love him as a GM. He's done a fantastic job. And I love how he's just straight down the middle too. He's not like a heel GM. He's not a babyface. He's just a
Right.
GM running the show. But he look, I like Nick Aldis, but I don't think he has as much personality as Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce, just as an on-screen GM, is probably one of the best GMs I've seen in a long time.
Right.
And he just does his role so well. You know what? I would love to see him and Drew go at it in a match. Like Adam Pearce is an indie darling. He won every world title on the indie scene. He was a Ring of Honor world champion. Um, he's a legend from the indie scene. So he could, and I would not surprise me. I mean, the man stays in shape. It wouldn't surprise me. He gets in the ring down the performance center and runs the ropes and that. So I would love to see a match between them two, just so Adam Pearce can get, you want to call me a bull bit, right? We're having a match tonight.
You mean kind of like going back to when Vince started stepping into the
Yeah,
ring?
yeah. Except the only difference is Adam Pearce is a actual wrestler.
Yeah.
Well, former
Uh,
wrestler. He's been retired for a little bit.
but you gotta, I mean, even though you gotta admit that Stone Cold probably loved the idea of knocking Vince on his
Oh
ass. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they were probably in the back going, "No, I want to do it. No, I want to do it. No." Yeah.
But no, this situation, keep an eye on it as it continues to develop. Obviously, they're going to do the Punk Seth thing for a little bit now until they do bring Drew back, and I don't know how much time Drew's going to take off at home, but he deserves that time. I know he wanted to have that time after WrestleMania, and we knew that there was questions of why he hadn't signed. Maybe he was just not going to sign, due to that. It's just like Becky. Becky hasn't re-signed yet. She will re-sign, no doubt. I don't see her going elsewhere, but she obviously didn't put pen to paper because she wants that time at home with her daughter and that now. So,
Right.
but yeah, interesting to see how we go. But let's get into the results of these two pay-per-views. So, Money in the Bank was, in my opinion, a really fantastic pay-per-view. Probably the only downer match on there, which seemed to happen again. It happened last year as well. The men got showed up by the women with their Money in the Bank. Um, I'm not saying that. We'll put it this way: the men's Money in the Bank ladder match was better than last year's men's Money in the Bank ladder match, but I still think it could have been a lot better too. But they kicked it off with that match where we had Drew defeating Andrade, Carmelo, Chad, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. I was wrong in my choice. I thought main event Jey Uso was going to take it out. Um, that that man is so freaking over, man. Like that, he is. That whole crowd just gets right into that hand waving and everything. Oh my god! And I love how he's coming through the crowd now, and they started back in the sort of like the walking area where the merchandise stands and
Right.
stuff are. But what was your? I want to hear your thought. As I said, I thought it was okay, but I did think the women's match outshined it. But what was your thoughts on the men?
See, and even though we didn't talk last week, I did think they were going to give it to Drew, and they did. I
Right.
mean, you can go back and look at my. I was like, okay, that's one match in my favor. Yeah, because I knew they were going to do this thing where he was going to do that, and then he was going to, I didn't think I did, even though he had said before that he was going to walk out with the belt, I really didn't. I was hoping he wasn't going to cash in the same night because, but the first match, it was okay. It had its moments, but yeah, it did show that Drew really is a monster when he's out there with all those others. I mean, he's a big boy. He really is. Um, it was all right. I enjoyed watching it. Like I said, the women outshined him, but it was a decent match. There
Yeah.
was worse. Like I
Yeah.
said, I that was the ending I expected. So yeah,
Yeah, no, which I could see. I could definitely see. I just thought maybe they might have capitalised with Jay and his popularity soaring right now. I feel sorry, man.
yeah,
Just
but
sort
it's
of,
not necessarily always the popular guy that wins that.
no, but to see, I thought last few have been a heel. That's one, obviously a heel again is
Right.
one. I thought maybe they make me give a babyface a win in this Money in the Bank. It's been a minute, but the person I feel for, once again, like I don't know how they're going to go about building him back up and put him on the right track again. Is LA Knight, your boy LA Knight? Yeah, since losing to Roman twice, he's kind of
Yeah,
been
I
on the
did kind
down
of feel
spot.
bad for that because it kind of did seem to suck the air out of LA Knight's drive. It's like, really? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope. Look, me and you both said it. If there's one person that needs the rub, that needs the big win, and it should be the person that beats Logan Paul, LA Knight.
Oh yeah, that would end. That'd be a hell of a match. I
I
mean,
know
just
they were. I don't
both
know what
both of
happened
them running
because
their mouth too. Shit.
yeah, and the thing is me and you are well aware. It looked like at some point that's what they were leading to, and then I don't know what happened. That completely got derailed, and they didn't really sort of come back. LA Knight, Yobi says LA Knight's moment is going to be SummerSlam. He's going to dethrone Paul. I think he needs to be the one to dethrone Paul and win the US.
Yeah,
He
I
needs a
do too.
championship, man. He deserves a
He's earned
championship.
it now. Yeah.
Yeah, um, no doubt about it. So, but as I said, the match was thereabouts. I thought it could have been better. I thought last year's Money in the Bank could have been better too. You didn't see as big a spots as what you're used to, but then, as I said, when we get to it later, the women fucking stole the show, bro. The
No.
women
Yeah.
had major
There
spots.
there were some moves done on that thing that I'd never seen before, and I was like, holy shit. I mean, she
I
like a
know.
two and a half gainer off the top rope was a little, it's like
Oh,
really.
there was one move that I was really feeling for someone when we get to it. But the next match on the
And you heard
card,
the smack because I think I know the one you're talking about. You actually heard the smack, and you're like, "Oh, that got
yeah,
hurt."
the surprise. Sammy retained his Intercontinental Championships against Bron Breakker. I don't think I nor a lot of fans thought that this was going to be the case. I kind of had it in the back of my mind, give Sammy the win because they're up in Canada. It's not his hometown in Canada. Maybe they give him the
Right.
win. But I seriously thought that going in, they were giving this to Bron Breakker and really going to really push and put him over because I know they're on a major push. By no stretch of imagination do I think a loss hurts him. I've seen idiotic fans all over Twitter say, "Oh, they're mishandling him." No, they're not. They're building him up perfectly.
Yeah.
He didn't look bad in this match at all. He looked just as much as the destructive force that he has been for the last several weeks. And I think there's going to be a rematch, and I think he'll beat Sammy in the rematch for sure. It's a great way to start him at that level since bringing him up to the main roster. You're not going to want to put a world title on the boy straight away, but definitely Intercontinental Championship. What was your thoughts on the match? I thought it was a really good match between the two. The two styles mixed very well.
Yeah, I thought it was too, and basically it was David versus Goliath. It really
Yeah.
was.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was. Yeah.
Because there's no reason that Braun shouldn't have been able to break him in half. And there were a couple of times where, you know, there were a couple of times when I was like, really, nobody's getting up after that. And then here comes Braun for another spear. The spear is not one of my favorite moves, actually, because it looks, you know,
No, but
I think that
his
his
spear
spear, yeah, hits.
looks, yeah, and it's because, I mean, he's got the record right now. I know it's a real unheard of record, but he runs those ropes quicker than anybody in WWE, and the bounce and spring he gets from doing that, that's why his
Yeah,
spear nine
it
times out
looks,
of ten.
yeah, it probably stings a little bit, but yeah,
Oh yeah,
because he can move so fast,
yeah,
it looks like it hits really hard.
yeah. You know, for years and years and years, I thought, and I did until I seen Bronze, that Edge had the best spear. I got in arguments all the time with people that were big Goldberg. I've never been a big Goldberg fan at all, but I said no. Edge, even though he's a smaller guy, made his spear look more devastating than Goldberg's. Goldberg's
Right.
half the time he would botch it, and he just looked like he slowly went in, and then the person just fell over. There was just nothing there. There was a couple of times he had a good spear, but it was usually when someone was jumping off the top rope and he nailed him with it. And then I'm like, oh, now it looks devastating, but they had to jump off the top rope to do it. Edge always could make it look really crushing, and then Bron came along. I'm like, good lord, that would literally take the wind out of you the way he hits you. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see what you're saying, Yobi too. He reckons it wasn't a surprise too early for Bron, and that's probably a case too. But yeah, I definitely don't agree with fans out there saying, oh, they're mishandling him, because I think they handle him very, very well. I also like the change in music. I think the new theme music suits him a lot better than the music he was using. I know some fans didn't like it. It's going to take them probably a bit to get used, but I thought the change up was very good. Then of course we had the triple threat match, or started as a one-on-one match, and then turned into a triple threat match. And I didn't really see him cashing in that soon, to be quite honest. I knew he'd cash in eventually, but I didn't think he was going to cash in on the same fucking night. But not that we haven't seen it before. We have seen it before. Someone wins the Money in the Bank, cashes in the same night. I just thought it was funny that he failed. This match was, before he even got involved, was off the charts. If, other than the women's match, I think Priest and Rollins, because Drew only played a part at the end. Priest and Rollins stole the show from a singles match standpoint. I thought the women's Money in the Bank was the best of the night. This was very close. So it was 1A to the 1B. I can't really say number two. It was definitely up there with the women's match. These two just brought out the best in each other. Man, they tore the place down. And then, of course, Drew, got involved. And I loved what I seen from Punk. Blasted him, man, with that chair. He blasted him several times,
Yeah.
like, yes. And then smashed him in the face with the championship. Oh, it was just it was all beautiful to watch, man. Every bit of it, from what was happening in the ring to even McIntyre's involvement, where he's telling the ref, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And then he fucking goes to run to do his move, and Seth goes, whack! with a super kick. Yeah, look, and Damian Priest, man, look, I've always been a fan of Priest, but I said before I didn't know it was because of his age, and I just wasn't getting that feeling. Like, he's good talent, great talent. That if he was world championship material, or if he was even going to get that opportunity. Since winning it, though, he's really surprised me, and he has gone to, I won't even just say another level, another stratosphere, bro. He, as I said, I've always been a fan, but my God, yes, he is well and truly earned, like Triple H said, being in that top tier. He looks like a main eventer now. Yeah, I can't fault the guy. And hats off to him, man. And I hope he continues to have a lengthy. I even hope that he beats Um, he beats Gunther at SummerSlam. I don't want Gunther winning on his first attempt. I want to see Gunther get his ass kicked for a change. Because he already had a lengthy title reign with the IC title, so he doesn't need another belt
Yeah.
straight away. So I would love to see Priest get over him. He's over as a world champion. I think he's earned and deserved a lengthy title reign. Even if you'd let him hold it to Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble, like that would be great because he, as Triple H said, he's really put in the freaking work and you can see it. But what was your thoughts on not just the match initially, obviously then what transpired once Drew and Punk entered?
I mean, I part of me was like, yeah, it was cool that CM Punk showed up, but
Mm.
part of my reaction in my head was, oh, here we go. And one of those things that you're expecting it, but in the back of your head, you're kind of going, please don't let them do anything.
No,
okay, never mind.
And you know what? What you just said played into what we seen the reaction at the end from Priest. He was because if you noticed during the match, he kept looking up the ramp. At a certain point, he's like, "They better not fucking come down." Like Finn or somebody better not come down.
He was expecting. Yeah, he was expecting
because he wanted to. From storyline perspective, he wanted to prove because that was what Seth was pointing. Can you stand on your own? He wanted to prove it, and he looked disappointed, even though he won because he essentially won because of Punk.
Yeah.
Right. He done all that work, and you could see the disappointment. So don't be surprised too. There's 3 branching storylines here for bloody Punk right now. So he's pissed off Seth because obviously cost Seth. So while Damon's the champ now, Seth can't go for him again. He's definitely we know he's pissed off Drew. I think he's. I wouldn't say completely pissed off, but I think he's got under Priest's skin because Priest.
I think I could be mistaken because we had started the show and I think they did show Damian talking to Punk.
Yeah.
Earlier tonight, but I didn't catch any of it because we were talking.
Right.
But so basically Punk has it coming at him from 3 sides now. So,
I know. I know. I'm like, man, he better keep his head on a swivel. You're not going to know.
You got to figure he doesn't have to worry about Drew right now, supposedly.
No, they still have to worry about Seth and Damian, like
which are not 2 guys that you want to be fighting together against you.
No,
because we already know Seth will work with his enemy to defeat a common enemy. We know that because he did that last year.
I mean, I wouldn't. And the good thing here is, I don't think Priest is his enemy because there's a lot of mutual respect there.
Right.
They didn't really build it as an enemy, and it's just like Seth pointed out that us smart fan, me, you, Yobi in the chat, and others, we can all see it. And Damian said it himself, and I know it's just from a story point, but I fully believe his line, though. The judgment, he does not need the Judgment Day as much as the Judgment Day needs him. And then, like he even said to Finn backstage in the segment on Raw, not tonight's Raw, last week's Raw, it was that way with Rhea. They needed Rhea more than Rhea needed them, right? When she was the champ. And then obviously, as I said, that you can tell the splits have, because after he said that and he walked off, you're seeing the death stare that Finn Balor's given and he just bought. So you can definitely tell Finn and the rest of them, well, Finn at least and the little garden gnome is going to turn on him. Because I won't say Dominic, because Dominic's off doing his own bloody thing with. He's going to have to.
Dominic's got his own issues. That's going to get his own ass kicked. So
he's going to be worried about it. But that Judgment Day is coming to an end. That's for sure. And Finn and JD will probably just stick together. But look, Damian, man, he's doing a fantastic job, bro. He's doing a phenomenal job.
He's managed to pull himself out from underneath the shadow of the Judgment Day, the shadow of Rhea.
Yeah.
And so good on him. Because both of us, for a while, were wondering if he was going to be able to pull it off on his own. And he is. As
I said, we're both fans of him, but I mean, me and you both were agreeing that we couldn't, at that point in time when we were talking about it earlier, we couldn't see it. We couldn't see, is he world championship? Is he a main eventer? Like, Yeah, we could see
Yeah.
mid card, we could see upper mid card. Um, and I mean, the guy's got all the talent well, but since becoming the I mean, the guy's just, he's gone to another stratosphere that I didn't know he could get to. And even like Triple H pointed out, like, he's in the latter stages of his career in reality, because as I said, he is an older guy. They signed him late in his career as it was. He's almost 40. Right. But he looks $1,000,000. He's definitely put in the hard yards for his fitness, right, everything like that. But his talking on the microphone has just gone leaps and freaking bounds. His in-ring style, which was already fantastic, has gone leaps and bounds again to another level. The guy's the whole package now. And now I can see it, and I'm like, you know what? I was wrong in the way I seen him, even though, as I said, I was always a fan, but I just didn't know if he could get over that hump. And I was also worried, too, because of his age, was WWE going to let him get to that level?
And it came down to how well can he carry himself without Rhea running or whoever running the show. But he's shown now that he can do that.
Oh yeah,
that he's ready to step out on his own, and he can,
Mind you, in saying that, we also both said at the time too, like, if they're going to give Cody the belt, and Cody's near 40 himself, then they can give Priest a belt too, because, obviously they're not really worried about that age as much anymore. Like, Vince was always worried about more of the age thing, but that's good to see, because at the end of the day, they might be near 40, but they're in their primes of their careers. Like, this is Cody's big resurgence finally, and he's proven himself as a main event lead guy, and now Priest has done the same thing, which is fantastic. So, man, it was a great match. And even with the way the ending played out, I thought, as I said, it's created a tree now of branching storylines, and Punk's at the center of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta love him though, Mr. Controversial. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the branches lead to now. Because obviously they're not going to do Punk and Priest just yet, because Priest now got to shift focus to Gunther, because that's the matchup for SummerSlam.
You know what's interesting though is, and it came to me tonight when they were yelling at Punk, they are really feeding into his, you bring drama wherever the fuck you go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's storyline this time, but it feeds into what we know about Punk.
Yeah.
So it makes it believable.
He's like a gnat, bro. He's like a gnat. He's like that annoying gnat that you can't flick away. He just won't buzz off, But, of course, then we had, which, as I said, was the 1A for me, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. That stole the show. Hats off to each and every female participant in this. It was freaking crazy. Yobi mentioned it before. It was the spot that I had in my mind. That tombstone looking move that EO did on Zoe Stark from the top of the freaking ladder onto the other.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And you're seeing Zoe Stark just crumble. And oh my back! I'm like, oh shit! I'm like, good lord! Oh man, top to bottom, that match was just phenomenal, and it was spot after spot after spot. Chelsea Green getting tossed from the ring of the ladder through the table. That was funny.
That was wild.
But I got my prediction right. I got my prediction right for this one. I said Tiffy time. I said Tiffany Stratton was going to win it, and she did win it. Honestly, apart from her, there was only really two other names in there that I thought could have been considered, which was Lyra or Zoe. But no, I'm glad Tiffany Stratton won.
By the way, for anybody who didn't notice, there was a Vaughn Industry sticker on the Money in the Bank.
Yes,
briefcase.
Yes. Well, they were
from the boys. Yes.
They even had her, the redhead, show up and do a little spiel as well. And then they took note. I imagine if what's his name showed up tonight.
Wow.
Oh my god! But man, this match, how was it for you? Did it steal the whole show for you?
Like I said, there was. I wish I could remember who did it. There was one move where she jumped up and she kind of twisted in the air and she hit somebody, and it was just it
Oh
looked like
yeah,
it looked like an impossible move. It looked like, where the hell did that come from?
yeah, yeah.
And the
I think it
and the
was
fall
either
from
Lyra or Io that did that one as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
I think it was Lyra. I think it was Lyra.
Oh,
But yeah, and the
how about freaking Naomi, man, where she did the splits on the two ladders, bro?
yeah,
That she was like,
that was nuts. Yeah.
oh my
But
god.
the I mean, the drop from the top of the ladder to the two tables,
Oh,
I mean, that could have went wrong in so many ways.
Chelsea Green,
You know.
she got messed up. Bro. Look, and I've been hard on her because she's been as green can come when it comes to in ring. Not on the mic, the microphone she's been fine,
Right.
but in ring, right? And I agree with all the praise that she's getting coming out of that match. She did such. I was worried about. I'm like all the other names. They're going to put in a fantastic performance. I was worried about Chelsea. She put in a performance of her goddamn life. That was
Yep.
the best in-ring performance I've seen from that girl, and I'm with everybody backstage. Hats off to her, man. She did a fantastic, and just taking that spot. Woo.
Yeah.
I sat there laughing, bro. I'm like, oh.
I want you to notice we've gone from the girls are training and they're getting injured to look at what they're doing now. They're doing
Crazy.
stuff the guys aren't doing.
No,
They
that's what I
are.
said. The risks that they took in this match, I was expecting from the guys.
Yeah.
Like they had freaking Andrade and Carmelo in there. Look, Andrade, in my opinion, was the best performer in the men's match. Like he
Right.
really, and he's feeling it today. Apparently, he's really feeling it. But I was expecting more from Carmelo and Jay.
Yeah.
Being high flying, like they didn't do a bad job, but the women, all these women, put all the men to shame. They really did. Their match was on another fucking level. It was fantastic, man. It was one of the best Money in the Bank ladder matches I've witnessed in a long time.
Yeah, and I'm not normally a big fan of the ladder match thing, but yeah, they put on a show.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
single one of them got their spots off, and that's what I thought. The pacing in that match was beautiful, and it was so balanced that everybody got to showcase.
Yep.
And like yourself, like you don't usually get that with those types of matches where there's multiple people in there. Someone's missing out, someone gets lost in the shuffle, whatever. But all those women, man, just phenomenal job, absolutely phenomenal. So hats off to each and every one of them. And then, of course, we finished the night with the 6-man tag team match. The Bloodline, of course, coming out victorious, which we had a feeling was going to be the case. That continues the storyline here. And especially with Solo getting the pin on Cody at the end. I thought this match was what it was. I thought it was better than the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, but then I did believe Sammy's match, Damian Priest and Seth's match, and the women's match overshadowed this match too. I thought this could have been done better. You know, the best part of this match, in my opinion, was a couple of the entrances with the crowd getting fully involved in Randy's and that entrance. But apart from that, there was a couple of good spots, but I didn't like the pacing, and I thought even the ending was a little bit haywire for me.
Yeah.
I'm cool that they Bloodline. You know, obviously you were going to give them the win because it just can't have them defeated. Otherwise, that kind of takes the wind out of their sail, especially with Jacob recently joining the group as well, and as well as the other two boys. But I don't know I can't really put my full finger on it. What was wrong with this match? But I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was.
I think it was because we kind of knew what was going to happen.
That's a possibility.
Jacob, the werewolf's going to come out there and just eat on everybody, and we're gonna see a lot of what we see where the good guys are going to look like they're winning, and then something's going to happen that's going to stop that from happening, and and the whole bit with it first, um Solo playing games and not wanting to get in the ring with Cody, and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
it was cute, but to me, there was really no drama. There was no,
No, no, that's what I think. Yeah, that's what it was lacking the drama. I'll just see what Trin says. She goes, I need to play some AEW again. After watching this footage is getting me into that beast mode mentality. Yeah. Um, but no, look, yeah, I just
and then
think,
of course, Paul was missing. Now, see, we haven't had a chance since Paul took his hit.
mm,
Um, and personally, I think when you go back and look at it, looks like the table didn't give away as well as it was supposed to, because it looks like Paul really took a shot.
oh yeah,
Uh,
it did. Which you would have thought under his weight and the way they kind of slammed him, it should have been enough, but it didn't.
but he rolled onto his neck though. Did you know? If you
Yeah,
go back and
yeah,
look
he
at it, he
did.
landed on his neck.
Yeah.
It's like, ow.
Hopefully he's okay. But yeah,
But he
no,
hadn't been around, because that was one thing that would have been interested to see him pop up yesterday or the other night as well. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Although obviously, clearly they're saving him for Roman's
he's
return.
in, and they're saying
Yeah.
he's injured, which he probably really
I
is.
love that whole thing on SmackDown, that drama. Like, yeah, I love you too. He's like, I acknowledge that you are not my tribal chief.
And if rumors are to believe, he did not sleep the entire for over 24 hours,
He
and he
didn't
didn't
sleep.
shave,
He didn't shave at all.
and he
Man,
didn't and he didn't shave,
he
so
looked
that he
shocking.
really looked tired and haggard.
Yeah, he did, man. He looked
Yeah.
like he'd slept on the streets.
What,
I'm like, what the
but they say
hell?
but from what I read, he didn't sleep. He purposely did that so that he would look
Yeah,
that way.
he looked
You know,
withered and yeah,
yeah.
tired and yeah, exactly. Which was, man, that's talk about getting into character for that. That was some phenomenal work, man. Even his
Yeah.
facial expression when they were about to drop him through the tail, I'm like, good lord, this man knows what's
I
coming. He
would have
knows
that
what's
same
coming.
facial expression, dude.
Holy shit! Fuck! Oh my god! Oh man, it was funny.
Because he has never taken that many hits. He really never
No,
has.
no, that's one of the
I
biggest
think he
shit I've
took a few
seen.
bumps when he was younger, but nothing like, no, not over the last
Yeah, when
20
he was
years or
running
so.
ECW, he took some bumps. Even when he first came in WWE, he took some bumps, but nothing like that.
Yeah.
That would have freaking hurt a bit, I think, for poor old Bathroom. But of course, then we moved on to the second WWE pay per view of the weekend, which was yesterday. NXT Heatwave again coming from Toronto. It was another great pay per view. Really, really good. We kicked off with obviously Obafemi defeating Wes Lee, which was the last chance while Oba's the champion for Wes to win. Oba, man, whoo, big boy dominated, man. Like Wes hit some spots, but the big man just is a bit too much for him, I think.
Nah.
Did you manage to catch that first match?
No, I only
No.
caught the part of the one match toward the very end, and that was about it. And to
Yeah.
be honest, I forgot about it today. I got busy doing other stuff and forgot all about it.
Yeah, no, it was again, it was a great pay per view. I thought I have to agree with Yobi. One of the matches that stole the night was the match that followed that for the North American Women's Championship. Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka are good friends. Kalani retained. That had some crazy spot. When I was watching that match, I sat there and thought, have these two girls had some teachings from Ricochet? Because they were flipping and flopping around and doing Ricochet style moves, man. They pulled it out. Like the backwards Frankensteiner was freaking nuts that Kalani did on Sol Ruka. They left it all in the ring, these two girls. Definitely two females to keep an eye on for the future because they can go. They can go start to finish, man. They essentially stole the show. Of course, Nathan Fraser and Axiom retained their championships, defeating Chase University. It was a pretty good match. You had the good high flying spots as well. It was exactly sort of what I thought it was going to be. Wasn't exactly the best tag team to take those two high flyers on to really showcase them, but it was a good enough match. The women's NXT Women's Championship match was fire as well. Roxanne retained against Lola Vice. I was going for Lola. I thought she was going to get her big win, but wasn't to be. But I wouldn't say it's going to be too far in the future before she's the new NXT Women's Champion. But it was a great back and forth match, and they both put on a hell of a performance. Then came the main event, and the main event was phenomenal, but the ending was shocking. I did not see the ending coming at all. Uh, Trick Williams lost his belt to Ethan Page, but it was the way the ending was done, man. I'm like, oh no, poor bastard. So he's nailed after Ethan nailed the guy who's been tag teaming with. He nailed Javon. Trix nailed Ethan right on the chin with a high knee, and it looked like he was going to go for the pin, but Ethan fell straight back on Javon, and then Sean Spears dragged Trick Williams out, and Trix had to be on ringside trying to get back in as he watched his championship get taken away. It was interesting. The only reason I didn't see this, I did not think that they were going to put that belt on Ethan Page this quickly. He's literally only just come in from AEW. And obviously WWE sees bigger things for him than AEW ever did. He was middling in the lower mid card over there. He's a good wrestler, good talker. I'll give him that. But yeah, I didn't think they'd give it to him this soon. I didn't think they'd take it off Trick Willie this soon either. So that was the surprise for me. The match itself was really great, especially for a fatal four-way match. Everybody again got their spots. Is this the match you had a chance to see, or is it?
Nope.
No?
No, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think they're getting ready to move Trick up? Do you think he's getting ready to that point?
I don't know. I'm a big fan of Trick Williams, and he is freaking over. No
Yeah, I was
doubt
gonna
about
say he's over with the crowd. He's definitely got that part.
and his wrestling ability has come a long way. I just don't think he's ready yet to move up to the main roster. Not yet. I think he still needs a bit of time in NXT.
I was thinking by the next draft though. He might be ready by the next draft.
I think by the next draft next year, yeah. Which is still a long ways away. But
Yep.
yeah, I think he still needs time. It's like that time, if you remember, they were thinking or they were discussing about bringing Tiffany up, and she came out and said, no,
Yeah.
I'm not ready for the main roster just too soon. I think he would have that same train of thought. He got asked, I think, a few weeks back, and he's like, no, I need some more time, basically, to cook in NXT. You don't want to bring him up too soon, because if you bring him up too soon, that's where 9 times out of 10 they seem to fail. Or they bring him up too soon and they have nothing for him to do, and like in Dijak's case.
That's the other side, yeah.
So, no, I think this feud with Ethan Page is going to play out further. And I think before he gets brought up again, I think Trick Willie will win the NXT Championship again before he actually comes back up. But he's well on his way.
Yeah.
I'd be happy for them to bring him up in another 12 months, but I think he still needs another 12 months. Yeah, even Yobi agrees. He said, Trick isn't ready yet. Give him one more year, he'll be ready. He got to get his mic skills more. Yeah, exactly. Look, as I said, Yobi, his wrestling has come along leaps and bounds from when I first seen him. Like, he was really green. That's come along leaps and bounds. And his mic skills have gotten better, but I agree with you that it need to be sharpened more. And I think even like he's still not happy with his full in-ring ability, which probably could be sharpened more a little bit too. But he's getting there. He's coming along very nicely, and I agree. I think another 12 months, and he should be ready to go. And look, by that time, they're probably going to have something for him and he'll get utilised. That's one thing I don't want for him, is him to be brought up and get lost in the shuffle, which, I mean, you could also say that'd be hard to do with how much that crowd gets right behind him, which is a good thing that he's got the crowd right behind him like that. Um, so it wouldn't be the same case as Dijak, where Dijak had a few fans, but, he wasn't really over, even though he did great work. But yeah, we'll have to see how this continues. I don't think Ethan Page is going to be champion for very long. I am not the biggest fan of him. I do think, as I said, he can talk and he could wrestle, but he's a little bit bland for me. I thought the same way in AEW. That's probably why he didn't get too far in AEW. And if he ever gets put up onto the main roster, I can't really see him being anything more than Carter Page. He's just a bit too bland. Watch this. I remember one SmackDown a while back. The crowd was chanting, "Whoop that trick." Trick wasn't even there. Yeah, that's big. Exactly. That whoop that trick. Yeah.
That means they want him to be there.
Yeah, so that's a great sign for him. But he's taken that same approach as Tiffany. Like, I'm not ready yet. Give me some more time to cook, and then they'll bring. And it worked for Tiffany. They brought her up, and she's doing really well, and she needed that extra time, but now she's doing really well. So, and I love the work of Sean Spears, man. Like, he is helping all these young cats get over. That man is one of the best workers in the business. Cody would tell you that himself, because they're best buds. He is a phenomenal teacher, someone to learn from. He's been in the business for a long time and knows the ins and outs. And that guy he can make anybody look good, Sean Spears. So hats off to him. But I'm also interested in the future of Javon Evans too, because that kid, man, he's got some talent too. Obviously, has a long way to go on mic skills, but I'm talking just what I'm witnessing in the ring. Ooh, he's going to be one of the better high flyers. Kid's very bouncy, very bouncy. So excited about his future. But all in all, I mean, I thought the pay-per-view was pretty decent. As I said, the only match really that was, I wouldn't say a complete downer, but was just, it was what it was the tag match. But do check it out when you get your time, Paul, because it was another good one. As Triple H said, WWE's been on fire lately, and they continue to be on fire. They only had that one down pay-per-view, which was the Clash at the Castle. That was the only sort of down pay-per-view that they've had. Otherwise, their weekly shows and the rest of their pay-per-views have just been nailing it. Absolutely nailing it. And I loved how he took a pot shot at AEW in the press conference, talking about, this long 7-hour freaking boring ass pay-per-view. Yeah, that was a pot shot at AEW for their long ass pay-per-views. He goes, I'd rather watch a more exciting 3-hour pay-per-view than a drawn out one. And I do think that's a problem with AEW. I think they put on way too many matches for their pay-per-view, and it just goes too long. And considering they're just not good at storylines, so it's just literally people tuning in to watch the match, I don't think they need as many matchups as they do. You can have a stellar 6 to 8 match card, and that'll be fine. You got to keep, because I think people's interest is like a wave with their pay-per-views. It's like up and then it's down, and then it's up and then it's down, and then it's up, then it's down. So that definitely has to go better. All right, Yobi brought him up. I was going to leave the poor guy alone. I'll let Paul have his red. Yobi goes, I have high hopes for Lexus King. What a huge upgrade from AEW. Now he looks like a star. Look, you want to go ahead, Paul, and tell Yobi what you're telling me?
That part of the show I did see. Lexus King has no mic skills. He has no personality. He has no... Oh, my God. If I had insomnia, I would put that on there and just go right to sleep. Wow. He just... I mean, like I said, before the show, I was telling him, it was like I expected him to take a swig out of his moonshine jug because he looked like a redneck sitting on a porch. He's one step away from a mullet as it is. It's like
Oh,
he needs a lot of mic work practice. He needs a coach to explain to him that how to punch words and how to sound like he's earnest in what he's saying and how he believes what he's saying, and that you can sound very sure of yourself by punching certain words and saying it a certain way and not being so almost monotone in the way you're delivering your thing. He's to me in the ring he's okay, but on the mic, oh my god,
he's
he's
not his
like
dad. Yeah.
it's like melatonin. It's like
I'll agree
it's
with
like
Yobi though, in the sense of the character that he's got is a lot
right.
better than anything that they were giving him in AEW. I'll give him that. There's
Yeah,
a lot of potential with the character. And he has got the in-ring ability. Like he is good in the ring.
yeah,
But yeah, I agree with you, and that's as best as I can put it. On that microphone, he is nowhere near of where his father was on the microphone. Brian Pillman
yeah.
was one of the best on that microphone. He was in his day. He was really really good, and it was very fluid. Um, I'm with you though. I think he can get there with the right training.
Right.
I think put him with
And
William Regal now that Regal's back with the company, and Regal will
yeah.
work with him.
And the way you do it, the way you do stuff like that is you don't memorize everything. You tell somebody, okay, we need you to hit this point, this point, this point. Go do your thing. Go do your character. That way they're not trying to memorize a speech, because I can tell you right now, I can't memorize a speech. I do sound like I'm reading shit when I try to memorize something. And I know that. See, that's the thing, is I know that. So I know that that doesn't work for me,
Right.
you know. But yeah, so and because remember this whole Lexus King thing started because I'm the whole I'm not my father, I don't want to be.
He wants
You
to be his
look
own
just
man.
like your
Yeah.
dad. You look just like your dad.
Oh, he
The way you
does.
hair,
Yeah.
you look like your dad. The way you wear your hair, you sound like your dad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
if I was you, I'd be using this to my advantage, not trying to run away from it. It's
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was going by his proper name in AEW, is
right.
Brian Pillman Jr. So but in saying that, you don't see.
Yeah, and saying that at the same time, I'd be like, okay, let's go watch a bunch of what your dad did as far as mic work goes.
Yeah.
Take some of this, learn from. Don't have
But
to
I
use it
mean,
all.
I was going to say too, you don't see Bron Breakker going by Steiner either, like his proper name either. So,
His proper name is Steiner, which I think is hilarious. His first name is Steiner. Uh, yeah,
but
but no, but but he's managed to make his own character. He basically is basically the new what's his name, who just got in trouble with Vince, the big guy that um
oh, which
you can't the one who was going against he was breaking everybody's neck, the big bald sweaty looking guy.
oh yeah, oh I just can't think of his freaking name at the
No,
moment.
the one that was also named in the Vince legal paperwork.
Yeah, yeah, I know who you talk about. I just can't. I'm
Yeah.
just spacing on the name, but
But
look,
yeah,
I think there's potential there.
Braun is basically taking that role.
Yeah,
He's the new big,
I think there is definitely potential there with Lexus. But yeah, he definitely needs help mic work wise. And as I
yeah.
said, I'd be sticking him with you know what? I'd either be sticking him with Regal or sticking him with Shawn Michaels and letting Shawn Michaels work with him
Yep.
on the mic
Well,
side of things.
doesn't Sean run the whole thing over there?
Yeah, he does. He does.
So
But
I
he's
mean, Sean
very
should just be going, "Hey, let's do something with this."
yeah.
You know,
Sean's very yeah. Bron Breaker's real name's Bronson Rushsteiner. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Um, but like he could have come in as Bronson Steiner or something like that. Bronstein or even, but they want to separate.
But
He
he's
wants to be
another one. He
somewhere.
looks enough like a Steiner that there's no mistaking it.
No, no, yeah, no. It's just like Lexus or Brian Pillman Jr. as I call him
Oh,
still.
what's her
Just
name? What's his name? The one we were just talking about. He's got a daughter that looks just like him with long hair. Um, I wish I could think of his name right now. Um, shit. What's it?
are we talking
Jovi.
about?
What's that?
Are you talking about Rock's daughter or?
No, 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 no. Crap. The one who got in trouble with Vince when all this stuff broke last year. Whose name? We haven't seen him since.
Oh, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar. His daughter.
Oh, his daughter
He's
looks a
got a.
spitting image of him.
He
Poor
does.
girl, like poor girl. I'm like, oh my
They
god.
showed a picture and he looks
Yeah,
like Brock Lesnar in a wig. Seriously, I
yeah,
mean,
it does. He dominated the genes there. But that's also from a previous. That's not him. A kid from him and Sable. That's
no, but still,
yeah.
I mean, it's like okay, let's clone him, okay? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like shit.
he dominated the genes there. Um,
I mean, and she's the big girl too. It's not helping at all,
but then and then the Rock's daughter, who's running NXT, she looks. You can see the Rock in her as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, look, I've got high hopes for Alexis King.
yeah.
I just need to put him with the right people that can help his mic skills develop more.
I'd like to see him do well because when you know about his family history, man, that family's been through hell.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
So you hope the best for him. You want him to do well, but he needs either better training or he needs to listen a little more or something. I don't know what it is because I don't know, you
Yeah,
know, how
I'll,
he.
I'll, I'll, I'll just go with better training with the mic. That's what
Yeah,
I'd put it down to. It should be as simple as that. And you get, as I said, you get him with the right people, whether that be William, whether it be Sean, whoever else is down there. He should come along. That's the only thing. Yeah, Ava,
right.
Rock's daughter. Yeah, yeah. Uh, so I just want to see her freaking wrestle.
Yeah,
But I mean, she could, but she can't really right now because they're having her as the NXT general manager, which she's doing a fantastic job as on screen anyway. But she's trained, and she continues to train in the ring. So one day we'll finally see her actually wrestle. Can you smell what Ava is cooking?
yeah.
But no, look, again, it was a good pay-per-view. Yeah, the Lexus King spot could have been a bit better, but yeah, fingers crossed he comes along. Crossed he comes along, and can only wish the best for him. And as I said, I do like the character. I think at least he's got a character that you can develop, a character that suits. Because AEW certainly had no idea what the fuck to do with him. But that's all that we have for you this week, folks. It was a good week to get into things, especially with the two pay-per-views. Both fantastic pay-per-views, a good weekend of wrestling, especially from WWE's standpoint. I dare say they would have made a lot of money as well. Of course, we knew it was coming, but still sad to hear and see John Cena's retiring and he's doing his last hurrah. And yes, I do think he will stick to his word. I don't think he'll be like Ric Flair and you'll see him wrestling in his fucking 70s and his grandpa panties. Ric Flair is gonna have to literally be dragged out of the damn ring. But want to thank everybody, of course, for joining us this week from the rockin' one, rockin' out with us as usual. The legendary one himself, Mr. Peace, Love, Life, Yobi-san, which I'll catch up with you on Wednesday evening too, brother. Who else did we have in here? Dreadpool was up in here earlier. Shout out to my brother from another man with the mythical beard, as I call him. Just keeps on growing, that thing. Rourke, always good to see you, brother. Big supporter of the show. Can't thank you enough. And of course, all the lurkers. You don't have to be in chat, as I always say. We're just happy that you tune in. And anybody that watches later, happy for you to support and tune in as well. So thank you very much. Very much appreciated. All right, Paul, did you want to let the fine folks know where they can find you, brother?
You can find me, of course, at Twitter or X at Cerebral Paul One. You can find me at Twitch at Cerebral Paul. On Twitch, you can also find me on the Xbox Ambassador channel on Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, Mondays and Thursdays, you can find me here on 4GQ TV. Tuesdays, you can find me with the Retro Renegades on their channel. Fridays, you can find me Wasted with Wise. And I'm also now one of the editors for the Lords of Gaming, the part of the Iron Lords podcast.
Yes,
So you can check me out
fantastic.
over there as well. The site will be down for the next few days because we are bringing up a new site. Should be up by either late this week or early next week. So keep an eye out for that.
Yes, it is, Trin. Ooh, yeah, it's the Macho King, Randy Savage. Yeah, I had to go a bit old school here with the footage and do a Macho Man versus Scott Hall at Halloween Havoc. There he is, the
Macho.
the bad guy himself. But of course, you can find me on the X app, Under the Moon Man. You can also find me on Steam or the Xbox app if you want to have a game or talk in a party chat. Other than that, you can find me, of course, here every Monday evening with my partner in crime, the Cerebral One himself. We talk all things wrestling with pop-up Powerbomb, and of course, every Wednesday evening with the one and only, the legendary one himself, Yobi-san, where we talk all things gaming with the Backlog Bastards, cover everything, because my former right-hand man has disappeared off the face of the earth. We don't know. He's gone missing in action. So shout out to Ryan. Hopefully he's out there somewhere, but yeah, he's not. He's no longer on the Twitters anymore. But other than that, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell, and you will know when any of us go live right here on the 4GQ TV channel. Of course, we've got many great podcasts on here and many great content that you can catch from All Women's Pod that happens on a Sunday. We've got the 4GQ podcast tomorrow with Paul, Animated Evil, PK, and of course the one and only Carlo, Italian Clowns, and as well as our pods. And of course, you've got a lot of great interviews that both Paul and Carlo put together. So there is something for everybody on this channel. You don't need to go anywhere else. You can find what you need right here. So do subscribe. But that's all, folks. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening or day, wherever you may be in this fine world. And until next time, have a great evening, everybody.